Welcome everybody to Hump Day Hangouts, episode 437. I'm Adam Moody with Semantic Mastery. We've got the other guys here. We're going to do some introductions, do some hellos, catch up with Bradley and Chris. But I wanted to let you know, in case you're wondering what the date is, today's the 29th of March. This is the last Hump Day Hangout of March 2023. We got a couple quick announcements. We got a cool one for everybody, and then a couple quick notes, and then we will be jumping into questions. So Chris, gonna start with you real quick. How are you doing today?
Excellent, as usual. Flexing and like working out in the gym, like really enjoyed that. And also hit the sauna because for whatever reason, it got cold again. It was snowing the last 2 days. And I'm like, what happened? I even like packed the winter coat already away.
Oh no.
Fish it out again. It is what it is, man. But other than that, lots of work to do, busy. And yeah, things are good otherwise.
Nice. Yeah, I've been going to the gym consistently now since September. So it's the longest I've been in the gym for a while, just going 2 days a week and then keeping up the running, but it's been pretty nice. So yeah, we'll have to see. Now I need to lose some of the holiday pounds that stayed on into the early spring. So
that's why you got the new suit.
Yeah, right. Feeling good. So we're still working on progressing. And like now I'm old enough where I'm like, I want to avoid injury more than anything else. So it's like, okay, what can I do that I can do, for a decade or 2 decades or longer? While putting on some muscle, so it doesn't hurt.
Yeah, don't do what I do and try to go heavy and then injure yourself. I cracked a rib 3 weeks ago, and it still hurts. It still fucking hurts. I went to the park a couple days ago to go jogging, and just jogging kind of caused the rib to start hurting again. I guess just from the bouncing. Like I can walk, it doesn't hurt, but then jogging, it like after I pushed through it because I was like, I'm just going to keep going. And then for 2 fucking days, I could barely breathe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm going to make something
physio,
up.
Man?
Oh,
What's that?
Have you been to the physio?
Physio?
Yeah,
doctor.
Chiropractor or something like that. I don't know what's in the US.
Just a broken rib.
No thanks.
Well, Bradley, how you doing today besides that?
I'm good, man. Busy as all hell, but good.
So if people want to find you on Twitch, where can they go? We'll just get this out of the way.
Just go search for my name. It's pretty interesting that there's a search function on Twitch, but yeah, twitch.tv/Bradley Benner.
Nice. Not Banner, Benner. Get it right.
Benner with an E.
Cool. Well, hey, Bradley, we were talking with Vasco from Vetted yesterday. And so he kind of hooked up something cool for Semantic Mastery subscribers and viewers. Do you want to tell everyone about that?
Yeah. So Vasco and I have been chatting and more. It's just a good relationship between Semantic Mastery and myself and Vasco. And so, I like what he's got going on over there and all that. So we just had a call yesterday and talked about just some way to kind of help each other out. And so, for our audience, he gave us a coupon code or referral code, whatever you want to call it. It's only 5% off, but hey, it's 5%. So if you just go to Vetted, that's VETTTED. So Vetted with 3 T's, and use the coupon code Semantic, and you get 5% off any product or service on the site. So it's not specifically about pushing people to my products or anything. It's not about that. It's about just go to Vetted, start using it for your work. There's some good providers on there, and you use the code Semantic and you get 5% off. Now it's only good for the first 50 uses or the first 50 people, and then it'll reset in a month. And we might try some other kind of promotions and things like that too, but it's really just to help Vasco out and vice versa. So yeah, check it out. Semantic, just go to Vetted, VETTTED. So that's Vetted with 3 T's. Use the coupon code Semantic for 5% off. And that's not just for my services. That's any product or service.
Yeah.
Just curious, how often have you used Vetted the last months?
What's that?
How often have you used Vetted the last month, the last 2 months or this year? Bradley?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm on Vetted, so I use it every day. You know what I mean? I'm a seller, provider on there. I've used a few services on there, but not many. As in fact, I was actually searching for bulk spam provider this morning on Vetted because I'm doing some tests that I'm doing on Twitch for some things. So with Backlink Factory. So anyway, but yeah, Vetted's it's a good service, and he's growing it. So he needs the support, and I support Vasco. So
Nice. Well, yeah, we were talking with him too, and we're talking about maybe we could just have a deal for the mastermind members, or maybe that, but ended up doing something for everybody. We think this is kind of cool. Obviously, Bradley's on there; it's a good platform. Obviously, some other good sellers as well, or providers on there. So
He's a good dude. I
yeah.
mean, he's just a good dude. So
definitely. And speaking of the mastermind, if you're ready to join the mastermind and take your local SEO agency or consulting to the next level, find out more at mastermind.semanticmastery.com. Come check it out. See if you think you'd be a good fit. If you are, great time to hop in. We always suggest people to grab the quarterly deal. You can join monthly, but we suggest doing the quarterly. It's a hell of a deal for one. And then two, like anything, most things you do in life take longer than 30 days. We want people in there who are going to stay and give it a shot, see how it goes, really apply themselves, take action. And with anything, building that habit, becoming part of a community could take longer than 30 days. So that's part of why we made the quarterly option such a good deal. Hop in, take advantage, come join the mastermind if you think that's a good fit for you. Let's see. Talked vetted, gave out the code. I think we're good on that, guys. Anything else going on that I'm overlooking that you know of?
I'm not sure, should we show one of the local Fury GIFs?
Yeah, you got one handy?
Give me a second.
So what Chris is going to do, we've been gathering some content. We needed to do an update to the page for localfury.com, a couple other things as well. And so we've been going back and gathering some of the results Local Fury's been getting. So if you're not familiar with Local Fury, that's engagement signals. And if you want to find out more, you can, of course, go over to localfury.com. I'm not going to read the page to you. But some really cool stuff going on there. And Chris has been gathering some of the results that we've been seeing there so we can update and share some of that. And some of this is actually really, really cool. So I don't know, Chris, if you've got that, just go ahead and share the screen when you've got that pulled up.
One second.
Cool. Bradley, while we're going here, somebody asked a question live and said, interested in Divi sites. Do you have any teaching on how to build those?
no, everything I've been doing recently has been in Elementor.
Yeah.
But they're all similar. I have one client who's been with me forever that's got a site into Divi. He's a roofing contractor. So I've had to learn how to use Divi just enough to be able to make edits to his site, which I don't do with new clients. Unless I build the site, I don't edit their sites, period. I don't work in other people's websites at all anymore. But I had to learn Divi because of one of my clients has been with me forever. But no, I don't do any training on it, but it's not that hard. Look, if you guys want training on something like Divi or Elementor, just go to YouTube. I'm not kidding. Just go to YouTube and search for Divi tutorials. And I guarantee you there are channels dedicated to that. That are probably super helpful. So I would encourage you just go. I mean, that's what I do. Anytime I got to learn how to do something in Elementor, I just go to YouTube and I find other people that have can show me how to do something fairly quickly. So.
Well, all right, Chris, you can go for it, man. I think Chris got the good stuff. Also, Cecilia, thank you very much. I like the best too.
So let's have a look. So we can see it's just automatically quickly going through. So we can see we have onboarded a client on the 28th of December. Obviously was a bit of a competitive niche. Started at 4.8 and we can see slight increases, then slight up. And then on the between 2nd to 8th February, it was a massive change. The results finally appeared to stick.
Nice.
Jumped from 3.1 to 2.9 and kept up at 2. So there will be way more like this. And you can also see in the map grid at the bottom here. So there's always things moving, as you can see. And yeah, expect way more of those results soon, because I think I extracted about 24, 25 of them. So lots more results.
We're starting to test with some new methods too, that one of them would be more effective for service area businesses. So we're starting to test with that. And we're also starting to test with doing some stuff with cloud pages integrated with Local Fury. So anyway, that's coming. We're trying to make it better, develop more and all that. So anyway, it's coming.
All right. Well,
lots of signals.
Yeah. Let's get into the questions. I think that was it. Bradley, you got the pre-posted questions up?
I do, but I do want to talk about one other thing real quick, which is the directory stuff that I've been doing. Really come full circle back to the whole rank and rent mastery stuff that I've been developing for months now, testing all these different types of site configurations and things like that. I found a couple of two site configurations that perform really, really well. And I'm actually going to be updating the directory process stuff to include some SEO related kind of training for how to use the directory to also build lead gen assets. So I'm going to be talking about that and building that into the SOPs for the directory process. Number one. Number two, the site template, the local site template that I had created in with WordPress and Elementor, and I had a custom plugin developed for short codes. My developers is actually reworking that plugin now to give us the ability to add more cities and things like that to that plugin. So, and that should be done by Monday. And so I'm going to be updating the SOP training for the local site structure in the mastermind, along with, there's several different templates now. Since I've been testing with the different, several different structures, I've got what I've found, what I've discovered to perform the best. And so I'm going to be updating that local site SOP and the clone files and everything to include the various structures that I've been testing with descriptions of each. And then the updated plugin, which will allow us to expand on that. So anyway, the reason I'm bringing all that up is because this all ties back into the directory. The directory is like the kind of like the point of origin or the golden frame, right? Like the epicenter of the agency. And I've built my entire local SEO agency around that directory. Well, now we can also use that same directory to build lead gen assets to work the hybrid model that I've been talking about for months, which is starting with lead gen, rank and rent stuff, or lead pay per lead, however you want to monetize it, it doesn't matter. But start with your own assets, and then you can lease those out or monetize those assets with service providers. And then you can back into doing normal kind of traditional retainer work, monthly retainer work for their Google business profile, so that you don't need to worry about securing your own Google business profiles, right? That's the whole reason why I've been working on this for months, is because I wanted to get away from having to try to secure spammed GMB listings. I don't like to build a business on something that can be pulled out from underneath me at any given time by Google. Suspensions, right? And so I don't like that. I hate it. I can't stand spending my time, effort, and money on projects that at any moment I could lose. So I wanted to get away from that. So for months, I've been testing all these different kind of site structures and configurations and all these different things, and finally settled on a couple that are performing consistently well across multiple projects and that are fairly easy to duplicate with, the proper infrastructure up front, which is why I developed the plugin and the site and all that other stuff. So, but I'm bringing this all back now full circle, like I said, back to the directory, because we can use, now that I have figured out these kind of structures that are working well, performing really well for local, we can duplicate that into the directory site. So now we have our brand. Think about this, guys. With the directory site, a niche specific directory, you become a big fish in a small pond, right? In a specific industry. You can build authority to the directory so that's how you get your target prospects into your kind of sales funnel, right? Into your aware of who you are and everything, right? Is through the directory. But then you can also build lead gen assets on the directory. So if you think about it, you can monetize the directory by getting clients. That's the way I use it. You can sell premium listings. You can sell advertising space. You can do list building. You can do lead generation from the directory. There's a number of ways that you can monetize the directory alone, but then you can also build lead gen assets through the directory using the directory domain and the authority that you build to that. And as you build authority to the directory domain for the local pages, the lead gen assets that you create, then that's going to kind of boost the authority of the directory. So again, it's like using that as like the linchpin of everything in your agency. So I've got a lot of additional training that's going to be added to the existing training. Plus one last thing, which by the way, we didn't talk about this, Adam, the Lead Snap webinar that I did with Patrick Shannon on Monday. Lead Snap is freaking amazing for SEO, local SEO, and lead generation agencies. And so I'm really looking forward to starting to try to integrate Lead Snap with my directory process. If I can make it happen, I just I'm just starting to test with it now, and I'm trying to figure out how to integrate and replace high level with lead snap. If I can do it, then I'm going to completely like update the SOPs for the directory stuff to include lead snap over high level, because I feel like it's better suited. It's less of a learning curve, and it's better suited for specifically our type of business, which is local SEO and lead generation. That's what it was built for. So I'm going to try my best to get to replace high level with lead snap throughout that whole directory process. It's going to take me a few weeks for sure. But once I do it, like I said, I'm going to completely update, or maybe what I'll do is keep, have two versions of the SOPs, one with high level, because some people are going to want to use high level, and then one with lead snap. But anyway, all I'm trying to say is that now is a good time to get into the mastermind, because a lot of this stuff is currently in development, and mastermind members always get first access to all of that. So we just encourage you to check it out. So with that said, yeah, Adam, and if you don't mind, man, can you post that replay stuff if you haven't already?
Yeah, I got to track that down since we had the issue with the hosting. So let me find that, and I'll put it on in the chat here.
Yeah, YouTube. I posted the replay on YouTube, and within 2 hours, YouTube sent me a takedown notice and said that because that it was it violated their policy on personally identifiable information in cyberbullying. You know why it said that? Because Patrick showed on the demo, which was a demo account, that there was the contact information in the CRM. And so YouTube said that is it violates their policy on cyberbullying for showing personally identifiable information. It was all dummy data, but whatever. I'm not going to argue with YouTube. I learned just fucking move on. You know what I mean? So we put it on Loom instead. Anyway. All right, guys, let me grab the screen and we'll get into these pre-posted questions. YouTube's done that a lot recently too. I've got my land flipping Alpha Land Realty channel I used for a ton of, mostly for training videos for my VA team. And so all those videos were unlisted, but it was going through like property owner records and showing how to, because I would buy vacant landowner lists and things like that. And so I've had over the last 6 months, at least 10 notifications from YouTube that they've taken that videos off, remove videos from my Alpha Land Realty channel because of that same reasoning, which is because it showed, people's names and addresses, mailing addresses and stuff like that in the videos, which is bullshit. It was unlisted. It was a training video, but whatever. Anyway, not going to argue with YouTube. You can't win. So, all right. So Rajesh is up. He says, has any of your site, or do you have an update on Google Core update happened on the 15th of March 23? Does Google understand expired domain now? Has it impacted people doing SEO with expired domains? I have no idea. I've not seen any.
Me neither.
I've not seen anything about that. And yeah, I mean, no, I know expired domains still work. They work well because I do a ton of testing with them. So where I think it matters, guys, is if you buy an expired domain and you completely change the content and the topic of the domain, then it potentially doesn't work as well or is useless because Google resets the domain. I've heard about this over the years, and I've not done any specific testing with this, so this is kind of speculation on my point. I always try to disclaim that up front when I haven't done any testing. But I've heard over the years that people have asked me, well, when you buy a domain that you're going to, what I call rebuilds for semantic links, I've heard that when domains expire that they reset and Google just ignores their previous, the backlinks that are built to them and everything else. I mean, I've heard that over the years too, but I can tell you for a fact that domains that we purchase that are when we repurpose them and they're in the same topical category or a closely related topical category, they produce an effect, period. Now, I've not tested anytime recently with buying domains and in completely changing the topic, because that's not the way that I do things at Semantic Links. But, I can understand that being the reason that domains don't work is because if you buy a domain purely based on metrics and then you completely change the topic of the domain, because you were buying it on metrics, not on topical relevance, then I can understand that not really working because Google looks at it and says, oh, okay, this is 180 degrees from what it was before, right? It's completely unrelated, so we're not going to give it any benefit. Now, again, I have not tested that, but I just know that we stick to domains that have relevance. And that's all we care about. Like, that's all I care about searching for when hunting down domains is relevance. I don't give a shit about those traditional metrics. Now, if I can find a domain that is both relevant and has high traditional metrics, then fuck yeah, I'm going to take that one. You know what I mean? Like, those are the domains I'm going to try to get, but I don't look for traditional metrics. That's a secondary metric. That's not the primary metric. The primary metric is relevance. So anyway, I don't know about that. I've not seen anything yet. Gordon says, hey, could you please help me clarify a couple of things you previously mentioned? You mentioned that real brands don't use Google sites or blogger sites, only spammers do. No, that's not what I meant. I meant for your main money site. That's what I meant. But you also said we could use either one for the rank and rent site if we wanted to. So other than permanency and control, would the only downside be that Google would not recognize the fictitious name you called your business as a brand and lose some of that extra ranking juice for a brand that you've promoted via backlinks, etc.? Okay. So first of all, like I said, you know, Google sites and on blogger sites and stuff, I think he misunderstood what I said. Maybe I said it incorrectly. That's certainly a possibility. I know what I meant to say. So what I'm saying is the primary website. You know, you can use branded bloggers and branded Google sites as tier one branded assets, right? Entity assets. That's what we do. Those are extensions of the brand, but not as the primary website. It's very rare to see that as a primary website. It's not that it's not, it's impossible or that it's never been used as a primary website. It's just very rare. But all of those branded entity assets are extensions of the brand, right? That's the point. So when you're talking about a fictitious name, you called your business as a brand and lose some of that extra ranking juice. I've said this for years, guys. If you're going to build lead gen brands that you're going to put a lot of time and effort into, create a DBA. Doing business as, register the fictitious name with your state corporation commission. Like, why would you not do that, right? I've got several DBAs attached to my main LLC for various businesses, lead gen assets, as well as several of my own companies that I run you know, through. I've got one parent LLC and bunches of DBAs underneath that for various businesses. Alpha Land Realty was one of them. Right? I flipped vacant land for 2 years. Alpha Land Realty was a DBA of my primary LLC. So like all of my documents for taking title of the property, because I bought a few of them, but most of them I just flipped. Everything was always addressed with Alpha Land, or, you know, my main LLC, DBA, Alpha Land Realty, right? So the point that I'm trying to make is you leave a paper trail specifically for Google to make the business more valid, right? So that's why I'm saying, if you're going to be spending a lot of time and effort. Now, if you're just testing, don't go get DBAs for brands that you're like brands that you're testing. I'm talking about once you've determined something that you're going to build on scale and you're going to put a lot of time and effort and energy into, then that's when you get a DBA, because it's a lot better. It's a verifiable paper trail that there's a real kind of brand there. Again, a fictitious name is doing business as is a valid name. Right? You can register it in the state of Virginia. It only costs $10 to register a fictitious name, right? It's only $10 and you can do it online now. You used to have to two years ago or 3 years ago before COVID, I used to have to go down to my local courthouse and actually go to the county recorder's office and have a DBA recorded. Like I'd have to go to the recorder's office and fill out a form and have it notarized there at the courthouse and then have it recorded. So, but now you can do 100% online. Well, at least you can in Virginia. So I would encourage you, like I said, use DBAs, guys, because it's another validation signal. Okay. I know you don't like to use bulk links any longer for first or second tier links, but you mentioned that a Google site takes longer to rank than a blogger site with a link blast. Not always. Google sites are finicky, Gordon. I think this discussion we had last week too, not you, but from another, somebody else last week, I think was talking about this. I think it was last week, but specifically about G sites. They're weird. Sometimes they'll rank with no backlinks at all. Sometimes no matter what you do, you can't get them to rank or even index. So Google sites are just freaking weird. They're an important part of what I do because it's a Google property. There's no reason why you shouldn't use it. But sometimes we have Google sites that rank with 0 backlinks, no problem at all. Other times, no matter what we do, we can't get them to even index. So it's just one of them things. It's standard operating procedure to include a G site in everything that I do, period. Sometimes they perform incredibly well, sometimes not at all. So when they do perform, utilize it, take advantage of it, exploit that. When they don't perform, use other assets instead, right? You can usually tell that fairly quickly too, whether they're going to work or not. Just by indexing. If they're slow to index, they typically will not perform very well, even if they finally do index. That's just kind of my experience. That's not, again, it's not a hard and fast rule. It's just kind of what I've experienced. Okay. So if you blast a Google site with links, will it just rank faster as fat? Will it with links? Will it rank just as fast as a blogger site? And is either one better than the other to use a rank and rent site, and why? Your help is greatly appreciated as always. Well, yeah, G site's better to use as a rank and rent site because it's more versatile. You can, with the new G site builders, I say new, it's not new anymore. It's just the G site builder, not classic sites is what I'm saying. But with the new, I mean, you can make them look really good. I've seen some G sites that look incredibly well. So that's what I would rather do if I was going to use a rank and rent site only on a external platform. So not a self-hosted site. G site would be my preferred over that. But remember, there's other ones that you can use as well over Blogger. By the way, Blogger was just an example because I know that I've spammed bloggers to the top of the search results fairly quickly. But there's some other site builders that I would, if I was going to just be building rank and rent sites on Web 2s or external platforms, there's some other ones that I would prefer over Blogger for that, right? Which would be like maybe Weebly. Weebly's a good one too. But here's my point. Why just use those types though? Like, why not use those as supporting assets for a self-hosted website? Like, I don't understand why go out of your way not to just use a self-hosted site. Like, in my opinion, you're better off using a self-hosted site and then using all those Web 2 assets as supporting assets, right? So that you can end up ranking more than just, just those Web 2 assets. You can rank the money site plus the Web 2 assets. And you can use the Web 2 assets to support the money site, right? That's what I prefer. That's what I do all of my own stuff that way. So yeah, I mean, again, I don't like to just use Web 2 properties. I know I've talked about potentially doing that, but I don't like to do it. I have much more control over my own website, and then I can support that with Web 2 assets. Okay. And I mean, I've had some crazy good results lately with some of the kind of local page stuff that I'm doing. And again, some of you have been following or at least seen some of the stuff that I've been doing on Twitch. And that's all I've spent like the last 3 months doing is literally testing different kind of configurations and local pages and different site structures, URL configurations and everything else. And I found a couple that work really well consistently. And so now I'm going to pull that back in and tie that into the directory site, as I mentioned at the top of this webinar or today's Hump Day Hangout, so that again, it's all about building authority to the directory brand, which is the agency brand. And it can be a lead gen brand. It can be, so the point that I'm trying to make is it becomes like really the point of origin for all of your agency and lead gen activities. And look, some of you don't want to do agency work. You just want to do lead gen or vice versa. You can do all of that with the directory. You can do one or the other or both. You understand? You can do either strictly agency work and use the directory as your prospecting and sales machine, which is what I originally started out using it for, or you can use the directory to prospect, to find lead or service providers, lead buyers, or you can do a hybrid of both, which is what I recommend, right? So there's no reason why you guys should not be doing that. I mean, and it's not just because I'm trying to get you guys to join the mastermind. That's part of it. But I mean it with all sincerity that, like, seriously, the directory process has been the most successful thing that I've ever implemented into my local SEO agency. Period. Hands down. Like, the full stop is not even close. I've been able to get more success with that directory process for my local SEO agency than any other method I've ever tried in over a decade now of doing this. You understand? So that's why I'm saying it's super, super effective when done properly. And now that I'm tying in the rank and rent model stuff back into the directory, it's going to significantly change. It's going to be so much even stronger, even better. Okay. And I'm going to demonstrate all of this live on Twitch in the mornings. No shit. I was talking about it this morning that I've got my local.treecarehq.com site, which is the site that I started to build 2 years ago for lead gen assets on the directory, but I kind of abandoned it while I worked on other things. Now that I've spent 3 months figuring out the best kind of local site structure, now I have it. I've determined what works best, what performs consistently well across multiple projects. So now I'm going to restructure that local TreeCare HQ site specifically with that structure and start building all of my subsequent lead gen assets. And I just picked up another one today. Well, on Monday, I closed another tree contractor for 3 locations, 2 existing locations that I had and one that I've got to build. And I just started working on that today. So the point that I'm trying to make is like the whole directory thing now is really going to start to explode based on, you know, the developments that I've spent the last several months kind of trying to figure out. So anyway, I bring that back because, again, think about this. You could use the directory as your lead gen, as your primary lead gen asset with one brand, right? You can build one brand around that, guys. And then it's so much easier because now you've got everything, all your messaging, everything is all tied in around one brand, and you can significantly scale that. There's several different things that you can do with it. So again, all of that's going to be demonstrated live on the Twitch channel while I kind of clean all this stuff up and organize everything and put it in the SOP format. The SOPs will only be available in the mastermind, but the sausage will be made via Twitch because I don't have the time during the day to do it. So I'm going to have to utilize that hour and a half every morning to try to reorganize all this stuff. Hopefully that's clear. Jeff says, hey guys, I have a client I'm doing PPC for and eventually want to upsell them SEO and website hosting management as they have loads of potential to grow what they have. They already have a website in place with another agency that has their link in the footer. How would you go about taking over professionally and not potentially doing heaps of work that would just benefit the other agency? Okay, I got to read that again. They already have a website in place with another agency that has their link in the footer. How would you go about taking over professionally and not potentially doing heaps of work that would just benefit? So I'm not really clear on that question. I mean, the thing is, if you're going to take over doing SEO work for your client and they had another agency, like they're going to cancel services with the other agency, right? Or are you talking about you're going to do SEO work and they're still going to be clients of the other agency? And what is the other agency? Is the other agency an SEO and marketing agency? Excuse me. Or just a web developer, web design company? So what is their engagement? Like, what is their, the reason I'm saying this is because if it's just a web design company and it's got a link in their footer to their web design company, who cares? Like, put your SEO link in the footer too. Leave theirs, who cares? I mean, it's no big deal. But if it's another SEO company and you take over and they're going to be fired or let go or whatever, discontinued service with the other SEO company, remove their damn link. Like, put yours in the footer. You know what I mean? Once you take over, if the other agency is not doing work for your client anymore, or your potential client or whatever, then why would they leave the link in the footer to the other agency? Right? That's all I'm saying. I mean, maybe I just misunderstand the question. If you want to clarify it, I can try to give you a better answer. Does anybody else read that differently than me? Anyway. Remember, the work that you would be doing would be to your client site, not to the other agency site. Now, the other agency might benefit a little bit from having a footer link. Yeah, so what? I mean, that's the thing. As long as they're not still being retained by your client, there's no reason you can't remove that link. Why should you leave a link on somebody's site that they're not providing services anymore? Maybe I misunderstood the question. I don't know. Wesley says, hey guys, do you know of anyone crushing it with local business directories? I have about 100 aged domains in my portfolio sitting there collecting dust. I would love to monetize and put to work. Thinking of offering a free tier with basic name and phone number, and then paid plans with website link, proper description, reviews, etc., but not sure how to scale it up, make it attractive to business owners. that don't know anything about SEO, et cetera. Well, you'd be surprised, man. I'm in the tree service industry, and from talking with tree service guys for 10 years now, they're not the most sophisticated bunch. I don't mean to paint with such a broad brush, but they're typically not very tech savvy. The vast majority of them. And yet I get leads every single week, inbound leads from my directory, because tree service guys, not all, I mean, sometimes they're SEOs submitting their clients' listings, but a lot of them are tree guys that are just submitting their listings to my directory. So they're user generated or user submitted listings to my directory from tree guys, which is, traditionally a very low tech bunch. So, you'd be surprised at how many businesses actually, they might not openly, be seeking marketing help and online marketing help, but they understand, a lot of them understand the importance of it. Now, do I know anybody crushing it with local or business directories? No, I prefer a niche specific directory because it's a lot easier to manage once I don't know how many times I got to repeat this, but to me, it's so important, guys. If you've tried to do a local business directory, first of all, it's hard to rank. It can rank. It depends on kind of if there's other local business directories it's competing with. But here's the thing. Think about this. I have a client that I've done video SEO. I used to do video SEO services for. They're a web design and video production company. They're local to me, in an adjacent town. Anyway, for 8 years now, I've been doing SEO stuff and YouTube ads. I originally got started with them. I'm getting to a point here, but I originally got started with doing. It's a local web design and video production company, and years ago, like 8 years ago, I was doing a lot of video SEO stuff. So I started reaching out to local video production companies and saying, pitching them, hey, you guys do local video or videos for local businesses. You get paid one time, right? To maybe they'll buy another video a year or two down the road or something like that. But generally it's a one and done type service. And I offered to them, I pitched to several different local video production companies, video SEO services. I pitched them on this. I said, listen, you can take a one-off revenue generator, the video that you produce, and turn it into a monthly revenue, monthly recurring income by offering to your clients video SEO services, because you sell them on the video, but that doesn't mean any eyeballs are going to get to it, right? That having a video does not automatically mean exposure or leads, right? So here's how you can get them exposure. And this was, again, talking about 8 years ago, I would do video SEO and then I would rank the video for the client. They charged $250 a month to their client and I would only charge $100 a month. So I was doing wholesale SEO services for a video production company that would sell retail video SEO services at a retail price. Does that make sense? So they actually made more money off of every video than I did, but I didn't care because I didn't have to go hunt down clients. I didn't have to close clients. I didn't have to convince them. They managed all that. All they did was whenever they closed a client and they upsold them onto what they called the Video Boost program, they would send it to me, and then I would charge $100 setup fee. That was just to prepare the video and optimize it and all that other stuff, prepare the YouTube upload. And then I would charge $100 a month per keyword. Because sometimes they'd want to rank for 3 or 4 keywords. And so I would take the same video, I would spin it, so change it slightly, and then I would target different keywords. And I would do bundles, like 3 keywords for $250 a month as opposed to 300 or something like that. So anyway, the reason I brought that up is because they ended up building a directory, a local business directory or a general business directory, I should say. It was not necessarily a local business directory, but a general business directory. And they hired me on several occasions for consultation to come in and try to show them how to get better results in ranking the directory, because they weren't getting any results from the directory. They would sell people on their videos, and then they would sell them on the video SEO services. And then they would also try to sell them on premium listings on their general business directory. The problem was the general business directory listings that they were selling premium, they weren't ranking. They, other than for a brand search, you wouldn't ever find those directory listings because the directory itself didn't have any authority built to it. And I advised that client, the directory owner and production company, I advised them multiple times, look, you're going to have to, it's going to take a lot of off-page work to get this directory to start to rank because it's so broad. When you have so many different topical categories on a site, it's hard to get traction for any one of them. Do you understand? That's why I'm saying a general business directory is a lot harder to rank because it's how do you build relevance, topical relevance to any one of those? And there's so many different kind of categories, business categories that you'd have to produce content for and everything else. And it's an enormous task. So I bring all that up because a niche directory, think about the directory alone. If it's a directory in a specific industry, or better yet, a specialization within a particular industry, then it's not hard to build authority to that directory because everything on the directory is about that one topic, that one service, product or service. Do you understand? So that's why Tree Care HQ, without me even really trying, it ended up ranking. It took a year and a half, and it wasn't. I didn't really do a whole lot of SEO work to it, guys. I'm not kidding. Mostly what I was doing was press releases for directory listings for that I would close into clients or lead gen providers, because I use the directory to secure lead gen providers as well as so service providers that would buy leads, as well as for retainer clients. Most of the time, all I would do was whenever I would close a client through the directory, is I would publish a press release announcing that we just welcoming a new tree contractor to the treecarehq.com directory. So most of the links that were built to Tree Care HQ were literally just press releases. And about a year and a half into the project, without even really actively trying to rank it, it just ranked. And now from that point on, I haven't had to do any outbound prospecting because I get leads coming in. The reason I bring that up is because, again, it goes back to why did it rank? Well, because everything on that site is about tree services, landscapers, and excavators, to a much lesser degree, landscapers and excavators, but almost entirely about tree service stuff. So it's super relevant. Do you get it? So and here's the other thing about why I always talk about niching down to a particular industry. I know the tree service industry like the back of my hand, right? I know the keywords that produce leads. I know the ones that convert. I know how to talk to tree service business owners. I know what consumers are looking for when they need tree services. I know that industry really well because I've been working in it for 10 years. So like all the creatives, everything has already been developed, right? I don't need to reinvent anything, right? I don't need to figure out what works in the tree service industry. I know what works. So I can duplicate and scale very easily. But if you're doing a general business directory, think about that. I mean, you have to learn all. It's the same thing of being what I call a general agency or a Me Too agency. Yeah, we do that too, or we work with these industries too, right? Me too. Yeah, me too. We do this too, right? Instead of specializing, because the problem is every time you start with you land a new client in a new industry, you got to start from scratch all over again. Learn 2 sets of vocabulary, how to speak to the business owner and what the consumers are looking for in that, right? Because we, as agencies and SEOs, right, we're B2C, B2B, business to business. That's our market, our other business owners. But then we have to do the SEO for them to serve consumers. That's B2C. So we have to learn the vocabulary on 2 levels, right? We have to learn how to prospect and sell to business owners. So we have to learn the marketing strategy for our services, but then we also have to learn the marketing strategy for their services so that they can attract their clients, right? And we're responsible for that. So the point that I'm trying to make is we have to learn 2 sets. We have to reinvent the wheel 2 times every time we start on a new industry. And it becomes an enormous amount of work. I know, because I did it for years myself, guys. Like, I'm not above all this. I just learned over the years how to make my job easier, right? Which is to specialize. I'm not crazy about the tree service industry. It happened to be very lucrative. And I've been working in so long, I just made it my kind of sole existence, really. Anyway, so do I know anybody killing it with local business directories? No. But I've got a number of people that are doing well with niche specific directories because of precisely what I've just mentioned. So can it be done with local directories? Yeah, it can. Like I said, I think it's just more work. I think there is what is it? The offline shark guys, Nick something or another. And you guys, some of you guys know who I'm talking about, but the offline shark guys, they have some local business directory training stuff. That, by the way, that's exactly how I got introduced to the whole directory model, was through the offline sharks guys. Like, full transparency, like 2 or 2.5 years ago, got caught up in a webinar that they put on. It was specifically about a local business directory, not niche specific, local business directory. And they had some sort of a directory theme and plugin that would pull contact, would scrape contacts and pull it in and everything. And I started on that process, and that's what gave me the idea for the niche specific directory that I ended up developing TreeCare HQ out of, and then the whole directory process and everything else out. So I owe the offline shark guys that, because they seeded the idea to me. But I went in a totally different direction than the local business directory for all the reasons I just mentioned. And again, the best thing I ever did for my local SEO agency, hands down, it's not even close, is just developing that directory and going all in on it. Okay. So to get back to your question, yeah, I would encourage you to go check out the offline shark guys about a local business directory. Okay. They probably got some strategies that would serve what you are asking about better than I could. Abby says, hey, Bradley, are the locally relevant links available for one-off purchases now? No, not yet. And that'll be a little while, because I got to build an inventory first. So subscribing clients, that is being worked into their subscription plans right now, like as we speak. It's currently being integrated into subscription plans, but it'll be quite some time, but it'll be several weeks before I have an inventory available for that. It's not cost effective for me to go out and build local blogs for one-off purchases. It is for subscriber clients. It's cost effective, but for me to just go out and pay a team to scrape a domain, buy the domain, build the domain, to sell one link, that's certainly not cost effective. So I'm not going to do it. I have to have an inventory of already local blogs that I've built for subscriber clients before I can start to sell one-off link sales for local links. It's just the nature of it's the economics of it is why I have to do it that way. Does that make sense? However, we have a training program and SOP on how to do this yourself. So you're welcome to check that out. And again, it was set up so that you can train a VA. You can hire a virtual assistant, plug them into our training, and you can have a VA building out your own local PBN, your own local blogs. And then you can build as many of them as you want and not wait on me. So it's still only available through monthly subscriptions right now. Yes. It'll be, again, I've got to build an inventory, and, once I start having an inventory, it's likely going to be in the bigger metropolitan areas first, and it will expand over time. But, unless your projects that you need them for in a major metropolitan area, it's going to be some time. So Gara says, what are your thoughts about launch jacking affiliate? We used to do it years ago, a lot of it. Thinking of building out an authority site to rank for new product launches around software, but also my own SaaS software. In consulting, is there a way to also cross-promote those so I can also benefit the core business and mix in some extra affiliate income to take advantage of both? I'm sure you can. Yes, you can absolutely, cross-promote stuff between your brands that way. I'm not going to give you much of an answer here just because I'm not into affiliate SEO. I have not done affiliate SEO in years. Years ago, I did a lot of launch jacking stuff with JVZoo products and WSOs and things like that. Like, we're talking, 10 years ago. But I haven't done affiliate SEO in years. So, I do local SEO, guys. Link building, local SEO, that's it. So, with launch jacking, press releases work well, but there's an expense to that. But press releases work well because they rank well for launch. Why launch jacking is fairly good is because there's not a lot of competition, because they're new. They're generally product names that you're trying to rank for, and they're generally new product names, right? So there's not usually a lot of competing stuff on the web. So the problem with launch jacking is you have to have a process to develop assets quickly, to be able to deploy a bunch of assets very quickly. Like I built a team years ago. I had a VA team and like we built a whole SOP, standard operating procedures, SOPs for how to launch Jack stuff. And we did a lot of stuff with YouTube, and at the time it was called Hangouts, Google Hangouts. We did like Hangout Millionaire and Hangouts on Air and things like that. We do a lot of YouTube press releases, G sites, things like that would work. And you can still do all that now. I mean, it's been years since I've done it, so I don't know how well it would work now, but I'm sure you can still do it. So, but niche pursuits, that would be something I would encourage you. Also, Matt Diggity and what is it? What is it? God, what the hell is he called? Affiliate Lab. I think it's called Affiliate Lab. Matt Diggity's got a lot of affiliate SEO training. Like I said, niche pursuits. I think that's the other one.
Yeah, and I was trying to think, did Affiliate Hacker or Authority Hacker have one? I thought maybe I'm misremembering.
Probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, niche pursuits is affiliate SEO stuff. So yeah, there's other places beside, that are going to be far better for affiliate SEO advice than Semantic Mastery for sure. Lee says, given the rise with AI, do you see a future with SEO and monetizing websites with advertising or affiliate reviews? SEO and monetizing websites with advertising or affiliate reviews. I'm not sure I understand the question. Do I see a future with SEO? Because of AI, do I see a future with SEO? Yes. I don't think that's going anywhere anytime soon. And monetizing websites with advertising or affiliate reviews. Yeah, I'm not sure I understand the question. I mean, sorry, Lee, I just don't understand the question. So if you can clarify. Lucas says, looking to bring outreach in-house rather than using gigs, et cetera, for scaling and quality control from my agency. How do you go about setting things up and pricing to clients? Because we may get more or less links per campaign, and some sites may want payments or content written. How do you handle these so you're competitive but make good profit margins with low costs and be scalable? That's a good question, but I would just have, I don't do outreach like that because we scrape domains and build them out. That's the way that I build links. So I don't do any kind of outreach stuff. But what I would do is just have, if you kind of model some of the other, if outreach links is something that you use for your agency, then kind of model some of the other outreach services, right? Authority links is one of them. Getmelinks.com, onelittleweb.com. So there's a number of authority, I think authority links or whatever. That's Matt Diggity's link building business, or at least it was. Matthew Woodward has one as well. Maybe that's authority links. Anyways, there's several of those out there. There's another one like Outreach Frog, I think it is. And there's several of them. You can, another one is, I think, not Tony Peacock, but that's not what I'm thinking of. There's another one like Fat Daddy Rank or something. I don't know. Point is you can go out and probably look at some of the other and model what they're doing. Typically they base their, which I don't agree with, which is part of the reason I got away from using outreach services. They base their pricing of their links based on Ahrefs metrics, so DR typically, or Moz metrics, so DA typically, domain authority, or traffic statistics, or a combination, of those metrics. That's usually what they sell it on. Again, I base my link building 100% on relevance. So, but generally they would charge according to the metrics. So, again, model some of what the other pricing strategies are of other outreach companies. And I think that's probably going to be your best bet. Sorry, I can't give you better advice on that. But again, guys, I'm not going to give advice for processes that are, or methods that I don't use, because it wouldn't be real, right? It'd be speculation. So I don't do outreach links, but you could probably model what some of the others are doing and figure out a way that, you don't run the risk of going negative, right? Claire says, hi, Brad. I realized that my GBP listing dropped a little in ranking yesterday. Could it have to do with Google's March core update? Maybe. Can you please explain the significance of Google's March core update and what we'd have to do in order to recover from a ranking drop. Thank you. No, I'm sorry, I can't, because I don't know what exactly occurred in the March core update. I haven't seen anything specifically. And yeah, by the way, you guys, if you haven't noticed this, if you run a GeoGrid report, you say you notice your Claire, and you might have seen an actual drop. It might be a real valid drop. What I'm trying to say is, if you run a GeoGrid report, right, and you get the results, and then you go back 2 hours later or 24 hours later or whatever, and you run it again, you're going to get different results. Like, you could run the GeoGrid report and then look at the results and then run it again immediately, and you're oftentimes going to get different results. Like, within the same hour, you run it twice and you'll get different results. So, I think the rank trackers are not very accurate. I think some are more accurate than others, but if you run a GeoGrid report on one Google Business Profile and use 5 different reporting tools, you're going to get 5 different sets of results. And then if you rerun all 5 of those again, you're probably going to get 5 more different sets of results, is what I'm saying. So it's really interesting, because there are times where, like, for all my link building clients, we run the report and then, like, it looks like something catastrophic happened, and then we just refresh the report and it's all back, or it's back and better, or sometimes maybe it's just a little bit of a drop where the previous report showed a huge drop, right? It's just the nature of the volatility of these reporting depths. I think there's one that I haven't even tested with yet, but he swears, Ted Kubitis from Quora, he has a GeoGrid that uses a different way to get the data than most of the other ones do. I've not tested with it yet, but I've been meaning to. So I'm anxious to test that. And then also Patrick Shannon from, LeadSnap has a GeoGrid tool that apparently is programmed a different, it collects the data differently than a lot of the others, which was demonstrated on Monday, the GeoGrid stuff. So that might be more accurate, might be better too. I'm not saying, Claire, that you didn't experience a drop. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying, was it the Google March core update? I don't know. I mean, there's so many variables that can cause a Google Business Profile to drop. I can't just arbitrarily say, yeah, it's the Google March core update, because I don't know that. And there's no way for me to know that without analyzing that. And also, what did the Google March core update consist of? Like, precisely what did it do? I generally don't look into these kind of things, guys, unless I see through my own experience, my own clients, etc., something that, like, requires my attention. Updates come and go all the time, and people always ask me, what do you think about this update? What do you think about that? Well, if I don't see significant movement in the stuff that I'm managing, I don't go research it, because I don't really have the time or the bandwidth or the desire to research stuff if it's not causing an effect on any of the projects that I manage, if that makes sense. So, yeah, so I'm not real sure exactly what occurred in the March core update. I'm sure more will come to light as time passes. But yeah, Claire, just, rerun the report. I'm just saying that because you may be surprised. If there was a real valid drop that is consistent, meaning it's maintained, it's still in a lower position, then there's a number of things you can do. One thing you could do, you could go to vetted, vetted.com. You could use the code Semantic as a promo code and buy from my profile a local SEO audit. It's a 21-point checklist. It takes about 90 minutes to prepare, and it comes with a review video that goes through all 21 points in the checklist and literally describes everything that we find. And if we find anything that can be improved upon, we're going to make recommendations on how to improve that. That is a local SEO audit. It's available in the vetted dashboard, the vetted. And right now, if you use the code Semantic, you can get 5% off. So Claire, you might want to go buy a local SEO audit, and we could investigate that for you. Okay. Which, by the way, guys, the point of the audits is not so that you guys keep coming to us to buy audits, because honestly, I don't like to do them. It takes too much goddamn time. It really does. I don't like doing them. It is an enormous task. It's a lot of time that goes into doing these audits. So I don't like doing them. I want to be 100% clear about that. So I'm not inviting you guys to come dump all your stuff on me to audit, because I don't want to do them, but I will do them. And the point is, once you have one audit, you should be able to take that information and audit all of your other properties or projects from that, because you'll learn the process. That we are very, very detailed in the audit specifically so that you can learn how to audit properties on your own, if that makes sense. So I do encourage people to get an audit so that they can see what one is, like what we look for and the suggestions that we're going to make. And then you can audit properties on your own or sites on your own after that. That's kind of the point. So, and by the way, I believe there's one on the Local Fury channel, YouTube channel, where I at least talk about some of what we do when we do an audit. I plan on doing some more training on that. I've got to find the time. All right, you got two more. John says, if you have a physical location on a GBP that serves a community in a large city of 1.4 million, do you put your service area as the city or use the main community and surrounding communities as the service area? You're talking about when you designate the service area in the Google Business Profile, that doesn't really have much of an effect anymore. I generally do, you can do all the different like locations and town names and stuff if you want. But generally I just do the broadest area. So the metropolitan area or the county. A lot of the times the city is enveloped, right, by a larger county. So a lot of the times I'll name the county and then the city as well. Just an example. But yeah, that's not nearly as important as it used to be. Defining the service area is not, because Google ignores that, right? You can set a really large service area and Google's going to ignore that. It's only going to show your Google Business Profile in the narrow kind of proximity that it shows now. But yeah, again, I used to get very granular on assigning service areas, like all the way down to a zip code level or a town name or city name. And then I would add all the city names within tree service contractors generally have large service areas. So I would spend a lot of time, talking about years ago, I would spend a lot of time assigning all of the locations within their service area into the service area designation in the Google Business Profile. And it was a lot of work to do that. And I found I think it had like over the years that's become less effective. So now I just do the county, or if there's, sometimes tree guys cover multiple counties and we just put the county names in. And that's basically it. Okay. Mr. Chicken Face. Okay. What is happening? Just wondering if you build out YouTube silos like you teach in YouTube Silo Academy. And if so, are there any changes to the process? Nope. No changes whatsoever. In fact, yeah, I do training on that still to this day. It's called the content mirroring method. Still use YouTube silos in that. Still do it to this very day. Just last week on Twitch, I built out a content mirroring structure. A YouTube silo is the first layer in the content mirroring structure. And I built it just the same way I teach in YouTube Silo Academy. That was like 8 years ago, 10 years, well, at least, 8 years ago. I think it was in 2015 we launched that. And still building them the same way today. Okay, I think that was it. Do we have any comments I need to get to? Anybody?
Yeah, sorry, having some tech issues on my side. I lost the screen for a minute. We do have some questions if you want to hop over, Bradley, to YouTube.
I just pulled it up.
I'm just scrolling back to check. So you can scroll down a bit. We answered the Divi question. So I see, I think, link more.
Yeah, we'll start there.
Yeah.
Have you used WordPress multisite to create subsite structures? No, I haven't. It's funny. It was way early in my SEO career when I heard horror stories about WP multisite, and I was told to never use them. And it's stuck with me. I've never used WP multisite ever. I've never even worked on one. And it's one of those things where like somebody set that kind of like that warning up years ago, early in my SEO career. And I've just like avoided it at all costs ever since. Whether that's a valid concern or not, I have no idea. I just have never even worked in one. So let's see. Directory as in house-esque directory site. Yes, Captain Morgan. He's from the Staxio group, right? I believe so. Yes, that's what I mean, a directory site. You can go look at mine, treecarehq.com. I mean, again, that's just a tree service directory, but it ranks for tree service directory. So is Lead Snap a clone? I found another just like it, almost the same pricing. No, it's custom built by Patrick and his team. Somebody else might have cloned it. Let's see. 2 of my managed sites started tanking since March 15th. So was just curious if you know of any sites are being impacted as well. I've not seen any, but we have, it's actually interesting. I was looking at one of my link building clients, roofing sites, that actually started climbing up in the middle of March, which was nice. It's nice when you see an algorithm update have a positive effect. I've not seen a lot though. Not seen a lot of movement from that. So Web 2 properties versus Web 2 properties is almost like a non-starter. Yeah. Yeah, I think I know what you're saying. I've been enjoying watching those Twitch streams. I stopped long enough to watch the live, and then I will go back and catch up. Yeah, I know, man. It's every day. Rajesh says, I have a follow-up question on my site. Would like to know, how does a brand new site with an expired domains work, and when do I expect my site to start ranking and sending me traffic? Again, too many variables, guys. Give it 60, at least 30 days. Remember, I'm almost entirely in, well, I am entirely in local SEO. And so for local SEO sites, generally, I like to build a site and the like geo pages and everything else, and then I like to let it sit for 5 to 6 weeks. I'll do some things like the branded entity assets. We'll build that out. We'll do some things, but we kind of just let the site sit for a while and kind of go through the probationary period, right? Where it's kind of like in a sandbox and Google's waiting to see what else you're going to do. I found if I deploy a site and then start immediately fiddling with it, messing with it, trying to further optimize it, and started building links too quickly and everything else, it tends to perform less or not as quickly than if I just build the site and let it sit, like literally let it sit for about 5 to 6 weeks. And I can work on some of the external assets, like the branded entity assets. Well, yeah, but aren't you building links from those? Yeah, but they're extensions of the brand. Think about, what does a normal local business do when they launch? They're going to have a website, and then they might add on some social media properties and stuff as time goes on, and they start to do some offline marketing, and they'll start to get some traffic, which is probably being generated from offline marketing, direct mail, maybe newspaper ads, or classified ads and things like that, radio news spots and things like that. So you can start sending CTR traffic and everything else. But what I found is by just allowing a site to sit for a little while and marinate or season for a little while, that it typically will perform better when I do start sending doing more traditional link building and things like that to it. So as far as for local stuff, I generally say 4 to 6 weeks before I start to see results from that. Now, that's not always the case. Sometimes we get results very, very quickly, but other times it can take some time. So too many variables again. Oh yeah, Captain Morgan's. I think you're right. I think people are thinking that AI is going to kill SEO. It's just going to change it. It's not going to kill it. It's going to change it. SERP reports come about because of the server locations that are running the report. Yeah, you're talking about the volatility in the reports too. I agree. What are the key points you find significant when doing audits? Meaning, are there 10 dynamic number areas that you drill down on that? There's 4 components that I drill down on. Well, maybe 5. It's the brand, the entity, local entity itself, the Google Business Profile on-page optimization, the money site on-page optimization, then the off-page optimization for both the Google Business Profile and the money site. So that includes links, citations, etc. And then lastly, I always look at backlink profile for the money site itself. So it's again, entity, on-page optimization for the Google Business Profile and the money site, and then off-page. So that's really 5: Google Business website and Google Business Profile and the main money site. So again, there's a 21. Just go look at my gig on vetted. I've got the 21 points that we cover. And they're basically grouped into sections. You can go to my profile and vetted, look at the local SEO audit, and you'll see in the description the 21 points. And they're grouped, like I said, it starts with the entity stuff at the top, then it moves to the Google Business assets, then it moves to the on-page stuff, So you can go through it and take a look. Yes.
That's
Yes, from Staxio. Okay, we're done, guys. Late again. Sorry, this is two times in a row. I've gone real late, so I apologize for that, guys. Appreciate you all. Mastermind webinar tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. See some of you all there.
See you everyone.